Alrighty, well, welcome back to the Mother-Daughter Disney podcast. So here we are again. I'm here with my wonderful mother. Well, you should introduce yourself.
Oh, hi. I didn't realize it was my turn.
Yes, I'm here with my wonderful mother here.
And I'm Janette.
Yeah, so we are recording 2 podcasts today, so this is our second recording of the day. But this podcast, you won't hear me as much, because today we're going to be going over DVC and our experience as a family with DVC. Mm-hmm. So again, we've both been longtime Disney goers, and my mom has been a DVC member for, I don't know, a few years now.
10 or 11, 12 years, 10, somewhere between 10 and 12 years.
Yeah, for sure. So today my mom is just going to go over her experience of when she got DVC, why she chose to do DVC, maybe over other timeshare and, other hotel options and things like that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just a lot of things about DVC today. So yeah, I'm excited to learn a bit more, because I'm sure you probably have more that I don't necessarily know about. Okay. And again, whenever we go on vacations on DVC, I never, book that stuff, because it's all my mom's
job. I'm the cruise director.
Yeah, my mom does a lot of work for our
Yes.
trips with DVC. So yes, if you ever thought about becoming a DVC member, just want to learn more about it, this is definitely the episode for you. So yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm not used to being the main person here that does the talking, so I'm going to start off with a little background as far as timeshare is concerned. Timeshare is a funny thing, because a lot of people believe in it, some people don't believe in it. I'm a proponent of timeshare to a certain extent at this point. We were timeshare owners. My husband and I bought a timeshare in the Caribbean while we were on our honeymoon in St. Martin's. We were like, no, just coming home with a t-shirt, not a timeshare. But we ended up buying at this beautiful tropical resort right on Dawn Beach. And Hurricane Luis took it right off the map, and we lost all our money. So we decided never to do that again, but ended up in Florida at one point with a young son who was only 2 years old, and realized that timeshare was probably a good deal for us because it gives you a lot of advantages. So we did invest in Marriott at the time. We did look at Disney. I'll get to the point of where we did have Marriott. Marriott was fun for us as a family because we would go to the timeshare. It was 2 bedrooms, kitchen, laundry room, big pool areas, restaurant, pools, everything you could possibly want from a resort. Plus, we would drive over to Disney and spend a lot of time in Disney. And at that time, Disney Springs was not a real thing. They were still had part of downtown Disney, and then they were kind of taking that apart and making it something else. So it was fun until we realized that we went to see our first timeshare at Boardwalk. We went to do a tour at Boardwalk. It was, the 1 bedroom was very small. It was just a bed and the living room had a pull-out couch. And our problem was we had 2 children, a boy and a girl. And whenever we would go someplace where there was only 2 beds to be slept in, somebody was sleeping on the floor.
Yeah, and it was usually me.
Right. Amanda always gave it.
I was the younger child.
Yes.
So.
She always agreed. They were supposed to split it, and she always ended up saying, nah, forget it, I'll just stay on the floor. So we decided that it was not worth the money at the time for us because we had the 2 children. What happened is a couple of years later, we continued to stay at Marriott. We continued to do what we wanted, and we had a good time. But a couple of years later, we went on a trip, and we landed early down in Orlando, and it was hot. It was very hot, very humid. Our room was not ready. So we drove over to Disney Springs to have something to do. And when we got over there, we were kind of walking around. And that's when they only had the east side of, Disney Springs. We were walking around. It was so hot, so miserable. We stopped to talk to the guy who was selling Disney timeshares. And he told us, well, if you go for a tour, the kids can stay and have ice cream and do this and do that. And we were like, you know what? We are so tired, so hot, so miserable. Let's just go. At that point, they would take you over to Saratoga Springs. And we did. We went over to Saratoga Springs. We toured the setup that they had, and the kids had their ice cream, and we sat down to talk. And what they were doing at that point, they were no longer selling Boardwalk or Beach Club or anything around the Epcot area. They were building Bay Lake. And it was pre-construction prices. It was not built yet, so you were getting in on the ground floor at the lower prices. It was going to be connected to the Contemporary, so we started talking. And when they gave us the price, it was pretty reasonable for the points. And we also had friends who owned, and that meant that if you got a referral, they dropped the price even more. They got something for it, and we got a better price. So we decided to go ahead and buy. So we said, okay, we're going to take another chance here, and we're going to invest some money, and we're going to buy a Disney timeshare. And I have to say, I love Disney timeshare. I love being...
Yeah, we definitely all love the DVC for sure.
Yes. I love being on property. And like I said, this is all personal opinion. I'm not telling anybody what they should do, shouldn't do, what's the best deal for anybody.
Yeah, this is just our story and our opinion
Yes.
on DVC, of course.
Yes, for us, it was the perfect... We were there at the perfect time for the perfect thing for us, because the one big selling point for us at Bay Lake was a 1-bedroom has a bedroom and a pull-out couch in the living room and a pull-out chair. So there is a double size, like queen size pull-out couch, but there is also a single bed pull-out chair, and it even has an extra bathroom. It's a tiny little bathroom, but it's perfect. It's got a shower, a tub, a sink. Yep. Yeah, Amanda uses it all the time.
Yeah, it's a good bathroom. So.
Yes, very cute little bathroom.
But no counter space, but good bathroom.
Yes, no counter space. But I got to tell you, when you have children or you have 4 people staying in a one room, it does get crazy when you all have to be someplace at a certain time. And having that extra bathroom and the extra bed so that if 4 of us went to that hotel, they could sleep in their own beds was a big selling point for us. And that was what pushed us over the edge. So then once you decide that, you then have to decide how many points you want. Because Disney is on a point system. It's very hard to explain to anybody who's not used to it, but...
Wait, so real quick, so at the time when you chose Bay Lake, was that the only option?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yes. It was the only option at the time. Now they do DVC resales.
Yeah.
They did not have that back then. You could not buy directly from DVC on a resale, like like now they sell Beach Club and, Yacht Club and whatever. You can get one at Boardwalk on a DV resale. As long as Disney doesn't take the contract, they will let you go through and buy it through the resale. That was not available. We had to buy it directly from Disney. So it was just straight through Disney, and that's what the price was. There was no, negotiation. So when we decided to do it, the big thing was to sit down and figure out how many points you were willing to pay for and how many points you needed. So there were a couple of things to take into consideration, obviously. Money was the first one, because everybody knows that, money is your big deal of how much you're going to spend. But the other thing is that if we were coming down, when we would be going down, because the charts are a sliding scale chart of they consider what their high season is, what their low season is, according to when the holidays fall is according to when the most busy weeks are. So they know when to move those points around and make those points what that week is going to be. And at the time, we decided that we would like a 1-bedroom place every other year, Magic Kingdom view, and that's the points that we bought. Of course, we did that once. We went Christmas week, Magic Kingdom view, spent the full points for the week, and said, not worth it. Because you don't spend that much time in your room. And anybody who's been to Bay Lake or Contemporary knows that you can find 5 or 6 other places to watch the fireworks other than your balcony.
Yep.
And it's very convenient. And
when you're not looking at the fireworks, and I guess you can watch the monorail, I suppose, but you're really just
according to the room.
Yeah, you're really just facing the parking lot.
Yes, so, yes, really is. Yeah, you're watching the parking lot, maybe the top of Space Mountain.
Yeah, you can't really see a whole lot other than
No, it's not a very. In some of the resorts, like if you go, like when we were at Saratoga Springs, I've been at Saratoga Springs. When you're at the boardwalk or you're at different places, it's a very relaxing view that you can watch the boats coming in and off on the lake by Yacht Club and Beach Club, or you can sit and watch in Saratoga Springs. The ducks came right up to the door. It was very, very, very quiet and very rural. Where in Bay Lake, in some rooms, you're just looking at the parking lot. And that's considered a prime view, which means you're paying more points because the views are standard, lake view, Magic Kingdom view. I have to say that I have never gotten a standard view room. I get on there the minute those rooms, I'm allowed to book them, and I am booked out and cannot get a standard view room. I don't know what they do with them.
Yeah, but I'm assuming there just aren't that many standard view rooms,
right.
So they just get booked so quickly or whatever, and there's only like 2 of them, so it's like, well,
right.
That's it.
So I end up always having
right.
So you have to always in your mind think that you have to have enough points available to book the lake view. And like I said, you have to kind of learn how to use those points. You have to know what the sliding scale is. You have to know what your point system is. You can bank. You can borrow. You can bank your points into next year, so which means you've got 2 years worth of points, maybe 1 year. You can borrow from the next year and come in, so you can have 3 years worth of points at one time. That was restricted during COVID, but now it's back to the normal rules. Those rules are all up on Disney's website. I will not purport to teach anybody how to use the rules. But it's a good chance for points, because when you have those points, you can change when you want to go. You can pick a season and you can kind of finagle your points. It becomes a business of trying to figure out how to do all these reservations. That's why I'm the cruise director.
Yeah, because she's the only one that kind of can do it because it's on her account. So
yes,
it's like it's hard for me to, unless I logged it right into her account and was doing it on my own. But then again, it's like you need to be careful with your points so that, because you can use points from the year previous, you can borrow points from the following year, and so it gets very complicated with.
And the joke about all this is after we spent a whole hour with this guy trying to figure out how many points we should buy, Disney then reshuffled all the points.
Oh yeah, a few years later. Yeah.
Yes, a few years later, all of a sudden that week that we could afford we could no longer afford. And when I went and looked and we all called up and complained, in the contract it does say that they can take the points and shuffle them around. Even though they told you that the point balance in the accounts will never change, they did not say that they could take those points and shuffle them around so that now that week that used to be 240 points is now 275 points because they took points away from like the week in May. So if you want to go in May now, maybe it's less points. But unless you read that whole book that they give you that's about 10 inches high, you don't know that.
Yeah, when that happened, the Facebook groups are going crazy.
Yes, everybody was going crazy. But, it's the same thing like when we bought, another thing that we bought for was that Bay Lake has a lounge at the top, which is now called the Villain's Lair, because obviously now they have taken that lounge. What they have told us was not only available to all DVC members to go up there and sit in this really nice lounge and order some small plates or desserts and have really great drinks. And when the fireworks would go off, they had these floor-to-ceiling windows that the lights go down, the music comes up, and you hear what's going on at the Magic Kingdom, and you see all the fireworks right there while you're sitting having a nice drink at the windows. Now they do call it the Villain's Lair, in which some nights...
So originally the lounge was only for DVC members.
DVC members, and on July 4th and New Year's, only the people staying at Bay Lake, like somebody like us who owned at Bay Lake, staying at Bay Lake on their points could use that lounge.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be like a big perk if you bought Bay Lake, that you got special privilege to go up on July 4th and New Year's, which is, of course, the two big firework days in Magic Kingdom.
Right. And the days before. The day before July 4th and the day before New Year's Eve, because they do their pre-run those days.
Yeah. So since COVID, it has since changed.
Yes, they now charge for those nights, which a lot of us who own it, Bay Lake, were not happy about. You can still, though, go up to the outdoor deck, which is really nice.
Yep.
And you can stand there at that outdoor deck and see all the fireworks and all the view. They do the same thing. You can hear the music out there. And from what I understand, I was told that on the nights that you cannot get into the lounge, they do have rolling bars out there where they will sell drinks. On the regular night that we went up just recently, the line to get into the lounge, even though they weren't charging that night, was ridiculous. But you could go in and get a drink and bring it outside and have it on the outside deck. You could not get a seat in the lounge.
They did have like a long wait to sit down in the lounge itself.
And even a long wait to get in and buy your drink, but at least you could get a drink and go stand outside and watch the fireworks. So it's kind of a compromise, but that was a perk at the time. So like I said, for us, it was a good choice. That one bedroom, it was great. Now, that was when we had young kids. I personally don't ever use the kitchen. Every time
we don't cook when we're on vacation.
No. If I'm on vacation, I want Adam a kitchen. But I have to admit, that's why timeshare is something that I really like, only because when you go and stay in a timeshare, you have a kitchen, you have a toaster, you have a regular coffee maker, not the little ones that they give you in the hotel rooms. You have some place where a big refrigerator, you can put stuff in, you can put water in, you can bring your stuff. If you want to just have a bagel or a muffin or something in the morning, you can stock it, bring it, do it. I like that. We do not cook. If you wanted to cook in that kitchen, they have everything you need.
And lots of people do. So.
Yes, they get food delivered. You'll see the Facebook groups that talk about food delivery. We do not do that. I'm on vacation, and we're usually only there for a week at a time. So on that week, we are not eating in, unless there have been times when we've had leftovers that we'd get tired, or one of us was sick, or one of us didn't feel good, and we would eat the leftovers.
Yeah, I will say that's pretty convenient for leftovers for that purpose, because normally you can't take your leftovers home, but here you can, and you can eat it the next day if you want to. So
right. Turns out that sometimes my husband works from the room while Amanda and I go to the parks all day, and he eats the leftovers for lunch.
So it works out great.
Yeah, so it works out great. So I have to admit, having the kitchen is always a good thing. Like I said, even though I don't use it, it's always a good thing. The laundry room, the washer and dryer is what is a really good thing in timeshare, especially when you're traveling. When you're traveling to and from someplace and you do not have to pack every single piece of clothing that you have to wear, it is really convenient to have that washer and dryer.
Yeah. I will say other hotels do have laundromats in them, but I think you do have to pay for them, and they're not like in your room. Like you have to take your laundry down the hall or to another floor to go do your laundry. So yeah, it's very convenient to have in-unit washer dryer that you can just run whenever you want. So that's always great.
Right. So like I said, those things are the things that Bay Lake was very, very appealing to us because of all those amenities. Plus, it's on the monorail.
Yeah.
And it's in walking distance to the Magic Kingdom. Yeah. I mean, who doesn't like not having to deal with the crowds coming out of the Magic Kingdom? You don't have to get on a bus. You don't have to get on the monorail. You don't have to get on anything. All you have to do is walk back to the hotel. Except last time we were there, when Joe and I left Amanda and her boyfriend.
Well, yeah, let's just set the stage here. So this is a bit of a Disney memory, I suppose. But we were in Magic Kingdom. I had run the Princess Half Marathon that morning, so we were all up early because they came to the finish line to come see me run. Then we went to Magic Kingdom afterwards. We were walking around. It ended up being very hot later that day. So me and my partner, we were going to go in Space Mountain, and my parents decided, like, let's go back to the hotel instead. So they said, we're going to go back to the hotel. And I said, okay, back to the hotel they went. So then they went back to the hotel. My mom texted me because that, again, one of the perks of Bay Lake is that you can walk from Bay Lake to the Magic Kingdom. And it's really great because, again, at the end of the fireworks, when all those crowds are going towards the buses, the monorail, the ferry, you can just go on that little pathway, and within less than 10 minutes, you're back at the hotel and you're in your hotel room.
But it's nighttime and there's no sun, no heat.
All right, so from your point of view, what happens is that they left Magic Kingdom in the middle of the day, and
okay, a person who is a veteran Magic Kingdom person here left the park. Okay, I said, oh, look at that. They have boats. I wonder if they have a boat that goes to the Contemporary.
They have the resort launches.
They have little resort launches, okay? So I looked across, and the resort launch was not for the Contemporary. Stupid me did not look 2 feet over that had the launch for the Contemporary right next to the ramp for the resort monorail. In my mind, I didn't even remember that you could take the resort monorail because it stops at all the resorts, but it also stops right at the Magic Kingdom. I did not even think about it. It just went completely out of my mind. So we walked in the heat, in the sun, 3/4 of the way, and I finally looked at my husband and said, could you call me a cab? And call me an Uber.
They're in the Bay Lake parking lot.
Yes, he says, we only have to walk through the parking lot. It's like, I can't. Somebody's going to have to push me because I just can't do it. Then I get to
so then she sends me a text being like, oh my God, it's so hot. The sun is so strong. And I was like, oh yeah, it is getting hot and strong.
Yeah. So then she says, we're leaving the park now. And 2 seconds later, they were in the room. And I said, wow, you walked really fast. She says, we didn't walk. We took the monorail. And all of a sudden, it dawned on me.
Well, it was so funny because even as me and my partner were leaving, I said to him, I was like, do you want to walk? There's a little walkway. I was like, or we can just take the monorail because it was very hot. The sun was strong. My partner has fair skin. So he was like, yeah, let's just take the monorail. I was like, okay, sounds great. And Contemporary Resort is the first stop from Magic Kingdom. So you get on the monorail at Magic Kingdom and then you're the first stop afterwards. So first stop, we got off.
First stop, they got off, okay? Meanwhile, my husband is very fair skinned too. And it's like, he's picking up his collar to cover the back of his neck. And not once in that whole walk did it dawn on. Thank God it didn't. Because we were already we'd be halfway through.
What's funny is that the monorail is right over the walkway.
Right,
you literally see the monorail as you're walking.
I'm telling you, it doesn't seem that funny. But let me tell you, when it finally dawned on me, I couldn't believe it. And I have to say that Amanda's partner, Ted, gave me crap about it for the next 3 days.
I know. So it was funny, though, that it's like, because the shock on my mom and my dad's face when we said we took the monorail was like they were floored that they completely forgot about the monorail.
And it's not like this is the first time I've been at Disney or stayed at the Bay Lake, okay? We've been going there for 10 years.
Yeah, okay.
So obviously, I had a senior moment. Okay. So, it's okay. All right, to get back to my subject. Okay. All right. So like I said, my attitude about this is staying at Bay Lake is really, really good for us. And point-wise, even though I wish I would have probably been able to buy a few more points because some years it's a little tight, we now want a 2-bedroom. So in order to have a 2-bedroom, so we have a little privacy so that my children can sleep in another room and we're not tripping over each other on the pull-out couch or whatever, we just pick another season, which for us is good because we now have adult children and I don't have to go during spring break. I don't have to go during Thanksgiving. I don't have to go during Christmas or the summer when it's way, way hot. So we can pick our own seasons. And because I check those charts and I know exactly what's going on, I can kind of pick and choose what I need to do and where we need to stay. So that's why it takes a little bit of planning to figure that out. Mm-hmm. We do.
If you wanted to buy more points right now, could you? Or
I'd have to buy them resale. And then there's a way to buy them. See, now I'm not really familiar with this because I don't want to spend the money at this point. I no longer have Marriott timeshare. I purposely got rid of my Marriott timeshare because let me tell you something. The dues on these timeshares do come due every year. I have to say that if you look at what you pay and what you pay for the dues, and if you do use it every year, down the road, it is going to pay for itself. Because if you compare what it cost me in dues for these points and what it would cost me to stay in a hotel room for what we want. The same room, even a villa is impossible, but even a hotel room would be twice as much. So because I've been using it for so long, it's kind of now catching up on the price. You will not catch up immediately. It's like when you look at it, you'll say, I'm going to be paying for the points.
It's definitely an investment. So,
yes, it's an investment. But in the end, when you finally look back, even with my Marriotts, now that I don't own them anymore, when I finally look back, I do say that it was worth it when I was using it. My reason for getting rid of Marriott was Marriott became hard to trade anywhere but where I owned, in Florida. Well, if I own Disney in Florida and I'm going to Disney, I only want to stay on Disney property. If I want to go to Florida, I don't necessarily want to go to Disney every single time. I may want to go someplace else. So we decided not to pay those fees every year. Disney, on the other hand, we will make use of it. We will go. I enjoy it. It's just a vacation that we all enjoy. Obviously, Amanda loves Disney, and I like that because at least we have each other to go and do things with and really, really enjoy it. So I think we will definitely always get our use out of Disney. Yeah. But like I said, you have to know what your prices are going in. They still have free parking. When you are staying on your timeshare points at your timeshare, it's free parking, which is a big plus because if you stay at a hotel, those things add up quickly. There is no resort fee when you're staying there. You're paying your resort fee every year at the beginning of your dues, when your due date is due, because everyone has a different month of their due date. Mine is in February. So every February I pay my upfront dues and maintenance and everything that they charge me for. So there is no, I know that when I book those points, I'm going to that vacation and my hotel is not going to cost me anything more than what I've gone in for. So I like that. I like the room. And like I said, now we try to get a 2-bedroom, but if we had to, a 1-bedroom serves the purpose. So I like where I am. We do enjoy, though, staying other DVC resorts. Like I said, I've stayed at Saratoga Springs. My husband and I were down there. Actually, the one time I think I actually went down there on our own just for a little weekend. And we stayed at Saratoga Springs. It was a last-minute thing. I had a few points left over one year, and we stayed at Saratoga Springs. Very nice. Saratoga Springs is great because you can walk into Disney Springs. And if you want that kind of vacation where you can just walk into Disney Springs, spend all your time, and walk back, it's very, very nice. I have to warn you, though, Saratoga Springs is so big that if you have a room on the other side, you may have to drive over to where you can walk into Disney Springs to get in and out. We have stayed at the boardwalk on numerous occasions. We all love the boardwalk. Yeah,
the boardwalk seems to be one of the easier ones to trade your points to.
I think because it's so big.
Yeah, the boardwalk's so big. They have so many. Again,
and so is Saratoga.
So many rooms.
That's why it's so big.
It's easier to trade. So
right. And Amanda loves the boardwalk because she likes the running path.
Well, I just love that whole area in general. That whole area of the boardwalk of like the Epcot hotels right there. It's just my absolute favorite. That little area of Crescent Lake. And just, I love Epcot. So
right. And another reason for staying on Disney property when you're there is that you can walk to Hollywood Studios. You can walk over or take the boat. You can walk over to Epcot and be in there in, 5 minutes. Walk back, it's just, that's a really great place to stay. We have stayed at the Grand Floridian. Very nice hotel, obviously. Beautiful. Just the feel of being at the Grand Floridian.
That was like a long weekend in like February.
Yes, so we had just a few points and I said, how about we just do like a 3 or 4 day long weekend? And we did. It was really nice.
Yeah, that was great.
That takes probably one of the, I guess other than the new Riviera, that takes a lot of points. So we don't stay there because it takes a lot of points. It's hard to get. And it's also hard to book because when you're a Disney Vacation Club member, you can book your resort at 11 months out. You can only book the other resorts at 7 months out. So a lot of times those resorts are hard to get at 7 months out. So we have to book ours at 11 months out and hope to trade or hope to change. But we did, at the last minute, go to Grand Floridian. And I have to say, very nice. It is on the monorail, but there is no walking. Well, you can walk now from the, but it's a
very long walk if you want. But there's the resort launch, though. They have the little ferry that takes you right from Magic Kingdom to the Grand Floridian and to the Polynesian.
Right, so you can do that too.
And there's a separate one that goes to Wilderness Lodge.
Lodge. Yeah. That was always there. Yeah. Yes. But like I said, we have stayed in some of the other hotels, and it's fun because they all have their own feel. They all have their own things. The only thing I don't like about Bay Lake is their decor. It's more modern. It's supposed to be like the Jetsons kind of modern, and the colors are like brown and green, not my favorite colors. So the accommodations are very, very nice, very luxurious, very wonderful. I just wish it had more of those softer colors. And I'm a beach person, so staying at the boardwalk always makes me happy because it feels like you're at the beach or you're at, when I grew up near Coney Island and whatever. So like I said, I think that the DVC is very good for families, even for adults, because you have that freedom of just being in more of a place. Now, being
Or
a
even
DVC,
if you're going frequently as well. So
Yes.
yeah, frequent Disney goers.
yes, and we are. We use those points. You cannot. You can bank them. Like I said, if you 1 year you can't go, you can bank them over to the next year. But if you don't use them by that next year, they will disappear. And I mean, that's loss of money. So that's something you don't want to. But people now can rent them. They have all these now websites now where you can put your points up for rent. The DVC
So if you're
rental.
not using them, yeah,
yes,
just try to
through
rent
Red
them
Week,
out.
I think, through DVC rental. There's all different places that'll help you, but DVC actually has a DVC rental where you can put your points up for rent. I know if you want to book them through renting them also, you can book them through somebody who already has a confirmed reservation and they can't make it and they want to give it away. Or you can put in for a non-confirmed reservation and say, this is when I want to go and when I want to stay. When it comes through, let me know. So there are ways to do that too. So even if you're not a DVC member, you still can stay at a DVC resort. The last thing about DVC is the discounts.
Oh, sure,
I have to say that if you make use of the discounts, it will help you defray the cost of what you're paying.
Yeah,
in your,
over time, yeah, for
yes,
sure.
and your yearly fees. Because as a Disney person, as Amanda mentioned in one of the last podcasts when the news was out about annual passes being back again.
Oh, yes. Annual passes are back. So
And if you look at the difference between DVC members and the Incredit Pass and the Sorcerer Pass, only DVC members can buy the Sorcerer's Pass.
and Florida residents.
And Florida.
Yeah.
Well, Florida residents can buy any pass.
Yeah.
But if you're a DVC member, you can buy the Sorcerer's Pass. It is a better deal, even though it has some blackout dates. If you want to go on Christmas or Easter, then you got to buy the Incredit Pass. But if you're willing to do what we do and just pick our seasons, well, then you can get a pass at a much lower rate. You get discounts on everything. So let's say you're not an annual pass holder. You go down and you buy your tickets. Well, you don't get any discounts that way. But as a DVC member, we do. So the annual pass discounts and the DVC discounts kind of match up with each other. We always say we're both, and they will tell us if there's a difference. And lately, there's not been a difference.
Yeah,
They tell
there's
us
only
either
a
one.
few places where the DVC has a better discount.
Yes.
Because sometimes annual pass will be like 10% and DVC will be 15 or 20%.
Right.
So yeah, so it's always good to ask because you just never know.
You never know. And the difference is, and the thing is that you never know. You get so many discounts on so many different things, like golf, mini golf, all their tours, all their experiences. Most of the time, that's all DVC discounted. So, and then
Like
parking,
merchandise, food.
yes, merchandise, food, parking is free at the parks for DVC. So everything is free at that point. So the idea here is that you're saving money on one end to help defray the cost of owning it. So for us, it's a good deal. Because we intend to keep going to Disneyland, to Disney World. My husband, not as big a fan as I am, but like I said, he'll do it because he knows I love it. And if he's tired, he can go play golf. If he doesn't want to go to the park, he can do some work or he can play golf or he can hang at the hotel. The hotels themselves do have all the activities that any hotel would have. When you pass the boards, they have all the activities, the movies for the kids, the making of s'mores, all the little things they have going on around the pools.
Sure.
They have everything.
It's always fun, yeah, like just those activities. Or just,
Yes. So you're staying in a beautiful resort type hotel at the same time as being so close and convenient. Which brings me to my last convenience of being DVC is that we don't have to worry about parking and driving, especially now when you have little kids. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. We'd load them up in the car, get to the park, do the park, load them back in the car, go back to the hotel, go to sleep. Well, now we're adults. We want to go out. We want to have a really nice dinner. We want to have a really nice cocktail, maybe 2 cocktails. Well, at 2 cocktails, you can't get in that car and drive down a road and not worry about a cop stopping you and asking where you've been and how many drinks you've had.
Also just the safety of others.
Well, the safety of others, definitely. But the idea is we are one of those families that does not drink and drive.
Yeah.
So if one of us is drinking, the other one is not
as
drinking.
every family should be.
Well, they should all be, yes, but not everybody is.
Yes, I know,
We do follow that
unfortunately,
rule.
but yes.
So being at Disney gives us the freedom. You don't have to park the car. You don't have to worry about the parking. When we used to drive over, I've got to tell you, they used to only have that little parking lot outside Disney Springs, not the big garages that they have now.
There.
We'd go up and down those roads for an hour before we'd find a spot. So now it's so much more convenient to drive there, but now we don't have to worry about it.
And everyone knows when you go driving to one of those parks and you pull up and they flag you down to go all the way to the end of the line. And
Yeah,
like,
the last thing.
one.
So which brings us to all, that's my best thing about Disney is that I feel that when I go and I stay at the timeshare, I feel like I have that freedom that we can just go. It doesn't matter how tired we are. We don't have to go and drive. We don't have to find parking. We don't have to figure out how to get out of all those roads kind of all lead into each other. You really never get lost, but you can go the long way around if you take the wrong turn. So I think that that's something that, like I said, personal opinion, I love it. I love being there. I love the feel of being on property. You just feel like you're totally immersed. And that's what makes that's what makes me a DVC fan.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So
again, for us, it's worth it. And so again, that's one of those things. If you're thinking about DVC, if you want to become a DVC member, I do believe they are currently selling DVC points for the Riviera.
I think is the only one that's right. The current,
yes,
without resale.
And
yes.
the only other thing too is that the DVC points last for 50 years. So when you buy your points, you buy it. So like, for instance, I bought it today in 2023. I'd have it for 50 years into the future.
Right.
So the original DVC owners, I think they're
at 25 now.
Yeah, they're at 25 years.
Yes, that was Key West, Key West.
Old Key West was the first DVC.
Right, which is, that's the oldest one. And that one is 25 years old, I think, just hit 25 years old.
Yeah, so those DVC members right now are at their 25th anniversary. So in another 25 years, their points will expire. So it will be very interesting to see what happens in 25 years when those points expire. If people are going to renew their points, what the renewal process will look like. People are trying to buy new points for, Old Key West or something.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do when that happens, but that's 25 years from now. But, the last thing I forgot to almost mention, too, is that one of the big perks of being a DVC member, too, is they have a lot of DVC member type get-togethers and different things. Like even
like the Moonlight Magic.
Well, first of all, the Moonlight Magic.
Yeah.
That's a definite. We did one. We were lucky enough to be going when they were having Moonlight Magic in Hollywood Studios.
We just lucked out because
I got online.
Every once in a while. Of course, Florida residents definitely can go can try at least to go all the time.
Right, but we were going that week, and I got on that computer when I was able to, and lucked out, and we got tickets to Moonlight Magic.
Yeah, and it was great.
It was great. We know better next time if we ever be able to go. Some of the tricks of the trade, but I got to tell you, it was fun. It was just fun to be going in at night. It was fun. I mean, they gave you
Moonlight Magic was essentially an after-hours party for DVC members only. So you did have to sign up in advance to go. So it was a bit tricky to make sure you got like a pass.
Yes, you had to get online and get tickets.
Yeah, but once you go, at least at the time when we went, we did ours at Hollywood Studios. I believe most of them have been at Hollywood Studios. There's only been a few at the other parks.
They did one at Animal Kingdom, I know, and they did one at the one of the water parks just recently.
And I think they did one or they were going to do one in Epcot, or like there's one planned, I think, for Epcot. But as of right now, we did ours in Hollywood Studios. And I think Hollywood Studios has had the most Moonlight Magic as well. But you got snack tickets, so you can go get, like I say, free snacks. Of course, you pay for it in your DVC dues, but free snacks, so to speak. But in the moment when you're eating
a lot of tickets, we couldn't even use all our snack tickets.
We got so many tickets, which was great, and they have all different food. The food does sell out. So, for instance, if you want to go get like a big chocolate chip cookie, and then you get there, and it's like, well, we gave out all the cookies already. It's like, well, it is 1 a.m, and all the cookies are gone. So perhaps people got there before 1 a.m.
Right.
But it was really great. It's fun to be there.
Yeah, we got special popcorn buckets filled with popcorn.
Yeah, that say like Moonlight Magic on them. So
very good keepsake. I have to say it was fun. They had music playing. It was very big.
They had like a special fireworks show as well for the event.
They had like a light show on the Romans Theater. It was really nice. They also have cruises. I know that they do a member cruise that you can sign up for, and it's supposed to have a whole lot of stuff. So DVC members do get. Every once in a while, they do try to say thank you, and they do give you these extra little things that are definitely worth it. It takes planning, just like any Disney vacation. It does take a little planning, but I have to say, in the long run, I like being a DVC member.
I guess that's a good point too. Just going back for a second, just to like the merchandise you can buy, because they do sell DVC merchandise.
Yes,
so
they have their own
DVC
merchandise,
only, similar to like the annual pass holder merchandise.
Yes,
DVC only merchandise, which is always.
They also have specific DVC merchandise in their different locations.
Yes,
they have pins, they have shirts, they have things that will actually say the Bay Lake
we have like
Disney
Bay Lake
Vacation Club
things,
or Polynesian. Now that they're especially building now the Polynesian, they're building a building as well as the ones right on the water there, the little bungalows that they had. So they're going to have even more.
Yeah, I wonder
rooms.
Once that's built if it'll be easier to trade into Polynesian.
Could be,
because right now it's like you can't trade. Or at least my mom has never been able.
No,
to
it's almost impossible to get into because they only had those little bungalows and it was not. It's just not enough room.
Yeah, I know.
Now they're building the extra, and plus even with Grand Floridian, they built extra studios that they were refurbishing and opening up. So I think as they open up more and more possibilities. Of course, they'll be selling more and more of them. So that means more people trying to get into them. So it just makes it, like I said, a planning. If as long as you're willing to plan, you can really make use of your DVC points.
Yep.
I think I covered everything. I hope.
Yeah, I think that was everything. I know it was a bit all over the place towards the end there because we were trying to remember everything.
Right,
What
like
else
I said,
do we have to
have
add?
like 4 pages of notes here that I wrote down, but I tried to remember everything. But like I said, it's not. I'm not here to teach anybody how to use DVC or what to.
Just our experience.
Yes, just the experience of just going over. That's what we do. And like I said, my
Again,
forte.
everyone's going to have a different experience with DVC, the different opinions on it. Depends where you own, how you use it, what your family dynamics look like. If you're, again, we're, for the most part, when we go down, it's myself, my parents, and, we're all adults at this point, so we have no children at the time. I'm sure in the future that's going to change when hopefully, I'm blessed with children, but we will see. But hopefully when I do have children, it's like that will change our dynamics.
Right, it'll be a different phase. Right.
When we go down, things like that. So that was our little take on DVC. I'm sure we can always do another episode in the future more about DVC if there's anything we left out or anything at all. So all right, so let's get into some Disney news. So again, this is a bit of a pre-recorded episode, so we don't really have too much Disney news when you're kind of pre-recording, but 2 little tidbits of Disney news I thought would be kind of fun to bring up is that I thought maybe each month we could go over like what's new on Disney Plus, which I thought was interesting because they do post that. So in the month of April, I realize now we're at the end of April, but I feel like it's actually a good time to go through because some of these things don't come out until the end of the month anyway. So for instance, The Secrets of the Elephants came out on April 22nd. So of course that is, a very exciting part of the National Geographic portion of Disney World. And of course, Animal Kingdom opened up on April 22nd, 1998. So Animal Kingdom, of course, is celebrating their anniversary from last week as well. The Polar Bears also came out too, which is another National Geographic type of documentary that you can watch. And they also have another National Geographic one called Supernatural, which is kind of the behind the scenes on how they film these types of documentaries. Okay. So it looks quite interesting. Also new to Disney Plus is WALL-E, which is very exciting.
I've never seen WALL-E.
Yeah, I saw that the other day that WALL-E was added, and I was like, I gotta rewatch WALL-E because I love WALL-E. And so I'm glad WALL-E finally has made it to Disney Plus. And then of course the new season of The Mandalorian has been premiering as well throughout the month of April. So, and then just small part of Disney news is that the barges in Epcot have slowly been taken down. So over this entire month, they are slowly being taken down. And now I'm pretty sure they're basically all gone for the most part.
Not going to miss them.
Yeah, I think the only things that are left are the things for like the fireworks, essentially, that for Epcot Forever that's currently being played.
Right, yes.
But yeah, for the most part, all the barges have been taken down after much criticism of the barges, of course. Although a lot of people did love Harmonious. We liked Harmonious. It was not my favorite show, but I did like Harmonious.
It was entertaining.
Yeah, but it's one of those things is the show harmonious? Is it good enough to have the barges there 24/7? Unfortunately, I don't think so. So again, that's just my own opinion, but Harmonious was a great show, but to have the barges there 24/7, didn't really love it. So I am glad the barges are being taken down. So long live.
They go through so much trouble to have the ambiance and the views and the
exactly.
When you look someplace to see what you're seeing, those barges just immediately just hit you. Yes,
and they really stick out like a sore thumb.
Yes,
because
if you're standing,
if you're standing in the World Showcase, like facing the World Showcase, you see this amazing view of all the different countries. But you cannot simply just not look past that big gigantic circular metal
it's in
thing.
Your face. That's it.
Middle of the lake.
Yes.
So yeah, we're happy the barges are gone. But yes, again, in a pre-recorded episode, this is all the Disney news for right now.
Okay.
And there is no Disney birthdays this week. Okay. So no one celebrated birthday. Again, from a few days ago on April 22nd, it was Animal Kingdom's opening. Again, they opened up in 1998. So that's kind of that little anniversary for there. So so now we're at our final segment here. Is our Disney memory. So
Let me go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
Well, mine is about Moonlight Magic. I thought it was hysterical.
Moonlight Magic, yeah.
At 1 o'clock in the morning, my husband was like, "Can we go home now?"
Yeah.
We were loaded with buckets of popcorn.
Well, because we didn't bring bags. We didn't realize how much stuff we were going to get.
You try to go to Disney without too much pocket. You don't want to be carrying a big bag. And we figured we were going at night. What's the big deal? Little did we know they were going to give us so much stuff that we got on the bus, and the bus was crowded leaving the park. We got on the bus.
We're holding like 2 popcorn buckets, like some bags of chips, some cookies. We're like, oh my God, we didn't know we were going to get all these items.
We said if we're ever going to go again, you have to bring one of those little drawstring bags.
Yeah, a little tote bag or something.
Shove everything in there. So I just remember standing on the bus hysterical, trying to hold on so I'm not falling over and all the stuff that we collected.
I know, right?
So.
And like other people were the same way. We weren't the only
we were
ones.
not the
A lot
only
of people
ones.
didn't know because this is one of the first Moonlight Magics.
It was one of the first ones. So it was really.
I also remember too waiting online for the popcorn bucket, and all of us in line were like, "Is there popcorn in the bucket, or is it just the bucket?" No one knew, and like we couldn't see anyone eating. We were like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Well, that guy's swinging the bucket around his arm, so maybe it's empty." And then, no, they came with popcorn, so they were
come
not
full.
And
we didn't even use all our. We only got 2. We could have got 4, like 3 or 4.
Well, we used the tickets for other things was the thing. So we ended up getting other snacks when we were there that ended up being worth it as well. But I mean, like we did not need 4 popcorn.
No, we did not. We did not need
a lot of popcorn.
We had to take them home, and we were getting on a plane. So So
but I do use my popcorn bucket to this day. When I make my popcorn, I make my popcorn. I put it in the bucket when I eat it. So I do love the popcorn buckets.
Yes.
But. All right, so from my memory, I'm going way back to when we had first gotten the DVC. I think this might have been the first time we were ever using the DVC in Bay Lake. So we were there, I think, around Christmas time, because it was the week after Christmas. We used to go the week after Christmas frequently when I was a child because it was pretty convenient. Obviously, my brother and I had off from school. My dad had off from work. So it was a crowded time, but it was worth it at the time to go. And during that week, my mom ended up getting very sick. So she got very, very sick.
I got sick,
Yeah, just with like a really bad cold or sinus infection, something like that. I don't think you had the flu because they did go to urgent care.
No, they tested me. I had nothing. They just told me it was just sick, just a
so my mom was really sick. So I remember during that trip, though, that was when I got Kingdom Hearts for the first time. I used to play on the Nintendo DS, and I remember very specifically sitting. If you've ever been to the Bay Lake, the table in the kitchen has sort of that bench type of seating, so it's kind of against the wall. It's like this teal colored bench that's against the wall. And I remember sitting on that little bench and my brother watching TV and me just sitting there for hours. And there's a plug right there too. That's what I remember this, having with my DS plugged in, playing Kingdom Hearts for hours and hours, because we spent a lot of time in the hotel room that trip because my mom was so sick. Obviously, we didn't want to leave my mom by herself, but at the same time, you couldn't spend time with you because you were sick. So we were trying not to be in the same room as you.
Dad did take you out for a while, but you didn't stay
we went
very
out,
long.
Yeah,
You'd come back and I'd say, "You're back already?"
Back to bother you when you're sick. So, but yeah, we did go out a little bit during that trip. I do remember just like playing Kingdom Hearts like in that corner for like hours on end.
It also could have been the day that I went to the clinic because we
I
left you
think
back at the hotel,
you guys
and
did go to the clinic,
we ended up being at the clinic for like 10 hours by the time I got to see them.
Yeah, so I remember, I don't know why I have that very specific memory for some reason, and that's when I fell in love with Kingdom Hearts. And haven't played all the Kingdom Heart games. There's a lot of iterations of Kingdom Hearts, but I do remember playing that, and I got really far into the game. And I'll never forget that when I almost was done with the game, I couldn't beat the final boss in Kingdom Hearts. And this was Kingdom Hearts 365/7. It's the one actually with Roxas, not with Sora. So I'm getting really into Kingdom Hearts lore. My mom has no idea, but it's the one where you play with Roxas, who is like, we're not going to get into the Kingdom Hearts lore here. But anyway, I got all the way to the final battle. I couldn't beat the final person. And I remember I had a friend in high school and I was telling him, I was like, I can't beat it. He's like, well, let me try. Like, I'll beat it for you or whatever. He goes, so you can see the final scenes. And we end it. He's like, have you not upgraded your weapon since like when you started the game? And I was like, I didn't know I could do that. Like an idiot. That I hadn't been upgrading any of my gear, like the weapon, your outfits, like things that like make your player easier to, play and stuff. He's like, that's why you can't beat the final boss. You need like the higher graded weapons. And he also said too, like, I'm surprised you even made it this far with the low grade weapon. He's like, honestly,
that's how you were good at it.
He was like, that just speaks to how good you are at the game that I beat the whole game basically with like the basic weapon that you basically could have, which is a key, obviously, so he fights with the key. But yeah, I'll never forget that though when he told me, he's like, why have you not upgraded? And I was like, I didn't know you could. So I was not very good at video games. Still, I'm not good at video games, but that was pretty fun though. So. But all right, yeah, so thanks everyone for listening to this episode of the Mother-Daughter Disney podcast. Make sure to follow us on social media at Spaceship Earth Design on all social platforms. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all those things is Spaceship Earth Design. And let us know what you think of DVC on our latest Instagram posts. So are you a DVC owner? Have you thought about becoming a DVC member? In a dream world, if you could be a DVC member, which hotel would you like to be a DVC member at? Would you pick Bay Lake or would you pick one of the other hotels? Also make sure to give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're currently listening. As of right now, the Mother-Daughter Disney podcast should be available on all podcast platforms, and if it is not, definitely let me know so I can add it to that platform. I know I have the power to through how we distribute the podcast, but I'm still learning as we go, of course. This is a 2-woman show, and the technical side is, again, learn as we go. So
where does Amanda go?
Yeah, but I hope you joined this episode of the podcast and maybe I'm just, chit-chatting about DVC and Disney World again. And thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you all next time.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, see you real soon, everyone.